Dear Lord, baby Jesus, we thank you so much for this bountiful harvest of Domino's, KFC, and the always delicious Taco Bell. Also want to thank you for my best friend and teammate, Cal Naughton Jr., who's got my back no matter what.
Shake and bake. I like to picture Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt because it says, like, I want to be formal, but I'm here to party too. Because I like to party, so I like my Jesus to party. I like to think of Jesus like with giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the front row and I'm hammered drunk.
Thank you for all your power and your grace, dear baby God. Amen.
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 Let's dig in.
That was a hell of a grace, man.
So what's the deal, Robbie?
Here's the deal. We're the best there is, plain and simple. We wake up in the morning and piss excellence. Shake and bake.
All right, you may be wondering why we have a shake and bake theme going on today, and we're gonna tell you why. We are reviewing Saucony's new Endorphin lineup, and if you haven't seen it, new.
Yeah.
It's new, like a sequel to a movie that's exactly the same.
Yeah, so it's like Talladega Nights 2.
Or if you saw like any of the Star Wars what was it? What was the one with the girl?
Ray?
Yeah, Ray.
Pulled that out.
The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're on a tangent already. But we're gonna talk about the Endorphin lineup. Let me grab it. We'll start with the shift. And you're lucky, you're not just gonna get shake and bake here today. You're also gonna get Meaghan's opinion. So get ready to have your mind blown. So we're gonna start off with the baby of the lineup, the Shift. And the Shift is a daily trainer. If you saw it before, it looked like...
It looked like the Shift.
Looked like this. Now it looks like this with checkers.
Yeah. It's either a racetrack or checkers or ska or what's the other one?
Vans.
Vans, MGMT album cover. Brandon, throw that up.
Yeah. Boop.
All kinds of stuff.
All right.
Basically anything with the checkerboard on it.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else that's black and white with checkers? Checkers, maybe?
I think we said checkers.
Did we say checkers?
Yeah.
All right.
Checkers.
I'm sure if you have other things that you know that have a checkered pattern, go ahead, leave it in the comments.
Or checkers, or your favorite fast food menu item at Checkers.
Huh.
The South.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Probably
the
get one
South,
of them slushies or
keep
whatever.
on going.
This shoe is for your daily training, and it was kind of a surprise last year. I really liked it more than I thought I would. It looked chunky, it feels heavy, it doesn't have the most modern of midsoles, but it works.
It's like a max cushion, easy to. I guess it's not max cushion. It's more just looks like it's max cushion.
It looks like it's max cushion. It's more designed to have. It's got a firm feel. It rolls through your stride. What do they call their roll technology?
Speed roll.
Speed roll. Speed roll technology. I'll be honest with you though. There's another shoe from Saucony that I'm like, it's not that much different than this. Saucony Axon. So we have a review of that. Check it out. If you want a similar feel, roll, even slight, underfoot it feels about the same. This might have a more comfortable upper.
Right. So this shoe actually for the Shift, I'm gonna give a short review because I didn't run it as much as Meg. She's ran the last two versions. I didn't love it. To me, it feels almost like a basketball shoe. I don't know, the structure around here.
It is a thicker, heavier shoe. You got a hard plastic heel counter.
That's just me. I don't know. For me, it's an okay shoe. It's nice. It does roll along. It's comfortable, easy day daily trainer. Just feels a little clunky to me. But that's
I thought about putting this in our best daily trainers roundup, but Robbie pretty much talked me out of it.
Sorry.
Meaghan does like it, so let's get Meaghan's opinion. And through the magic of editing, she'll just appear. All right, Meg, let the people know, because I know you put probably more miles on the Shift than either Robbie and I in the previous model.
Well, let me just say thank goodness I'm here because I don't think this is anything like the Axon. There's way more structure here. It's a little bit heavier. It's just got more meat to it. There's this heel counter situation back here. There's just more structure and stability in this shoe than the Axon. So I think the Axon's way lighter, different shoe. This one is for that day where you need that extra support and that structure. Maybe your form's breaking down because you're tired. This is gonna help you out.
So you would go with this over the Axon?
Just different runs. This is for your easy recovery day.
The Axon, to me, rolls through your stride. Very similar to this. The same feeling underfoot. Maybe you get more structure from the upper and the heel counter and stuff like that, but what I'm saying is this midsole feels like that midsole. You don't agree?
I just think they're different.
All right, they're different.
Not much has changed since the first version. I felt like this foam felt a little bit firmer underfoot, but I think maybe it just needs a little bit of a break-in period. So after a few more miles, I'm thinking it'll probably feel very similar to the original.
Awesome. So let's go on, now that you have the breakdown of the shift, that it's basically the same as the other shift with some tweaks to the upper. You got a little bit of different shape to this heel counter. Other than that, you're pretty much riding the same shoe as you were last year. I do kind of like the upper better, and I think the styling of the shoe makes it look more like a running shoe than the previous model. I would agree with Robbe that it does kind of have that 3/4 high top look and feel to it. And I think that, yeah, it's right there in a weird spot for me. It's not quite what I would say like max cushion. It's not quite daily trainer. It's somewhere in between. People who dig it really dig it. So that's that for the shift. Let's move on to the second child, the Speed. All right, that was fast.
Did that just blow your mind? Because that just happened.
Yep. So that's another quote from the movie Talladega Nights. Don't sue us, Ricky Bobby.
So the Speed is a little bit different in the Pro in that it has a P-Bax plate, or nylon plate, if you will. Less rigid. You know, the Pro is super firm, just has like a snappy toe off, which we'll get to in a second. So this is a little more flexibility, a little more forgiving on the foot and in the roll through, but it all combines to make this my favorite shoe right now of just any shoe.
And you put a lot of miles on the first one. I mean,
I'll tell you what, it's the same thing as the
I was
first
gonna
one.
say, can you tell the difference between them?
Here's how I know is because a couple of days ago, I wore one on each foot for the entire day. I did my run, I went to the grocery store, people looked at me weird, I looked back at them and said, what are you looking at?
It could have been the mustache.
It might have been, I didn't have it yet.
Okay.
Just imagine if I went now. And it's the same thing. I mean, they say there's a little more heel structure or a better fit for the heel. I didn't really notice. I also never had a problem with that in general. And then the mesh here is supposed to be a little bit more breathable, but I thought the last version was pretty breathable as well.
I mean, it looks pretty breathable last
I
time.
mean, it's very thin, tons of perforations. Honestly, aside from the design, there's really not much difference. It's still my favorite shoe. Like the way it rolls through your stride and just picks up and goes. Like you can use it for tempos, for races, for daily trainers if you like a light daily trainer.
This is a super versatile shoe.
It really
and
is.
it didn't make our daily trainer top 5 that we just released in video because it leans more towards a shoe that you can really pick up the pace for it. You could even race in this one. So to me, it works more into that tempo shoe and not quite the race shoe because we have the next shoe coming up that fits that mold. But the amount of popularity that this shoe had was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, the Endorphin line in general, like blew Saucony up last year in a good way.
So you're piling in the miles on this. You can get the speed, you can get the fast miles, you can get that. Got a gusseted tongue, mesh, nice lacing system. There's nothing to complain about in this shoe. It just works. The midsole is great. I don't love it as much as Robbe does. Like he really seemed to like this shoe. I think Meaghan also put a ton of miles in the shoe. I like it. I'm not as over the moon as you guys are about it.
I don't know. It's just the speed roll combined with the ground feel with the right amount of cushion just works for me.
Yeah, and Robbe's, just to give you a history, Robbe's probably all-time favorite shoe is the Nike Epic React, the original one.
Yep.
And this, I felt like you have been pining for that shoe after they discontinued it, and this came along and you were like,
Yeah, a little, I mean, different feel, but like that same bucket of, as far as like a lightweight, nicely fitting fast shoe that can do anything.
All right, so if you ain't first,
You're last.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last. If you ain't first, you're last.
So Robbie, why don't you get out of here and we'll bring in Meaghan.
Guess I'm last.
You know that Robbie loves a shoe. You know how I feel about that. I think it's a great shoe. It just doesn't sync with me perfectly. What do you use this shoe for and how do you like it?
I like this shoe for speed days, maybe not like your really fast 200, 400s out on the track, but maybe the longer tempo run. I think even for just a longer run that maybe you're going for a moderate pace, like a 15 miler, I think this would be a great pick. So it's not that like super pop fast ride, but it's light and quick.
I will say I do like it for like on a long run when I'm doing double-digit miles and I'm not really concentrating on pace as much, so I'm not trying to go out there with maybe the race day shoe, but I'm just trying to get some miles where the legs are moving and feel good. This shoe really shines in that type of situation. It just feels great in those longer miles, and if you feel like picking up the pace, the shoe can pick up the pace and do it with you. If you feel like going slow, it's not as much fun, I think, when you're going at slower paces, but it can handle it.
Yeah, I think it can work sort of as that daily trainer, but also picking up the pace. So it's pretty versatile. I mean, I dig it.
So let's move on to the big daddy, the number one, the Pro. We said if you ain't first, you're last. This is the one you want to be first in. Everybody else can be last. The only thing I do notice that's different is right here in the lacing. It does have this extra lockdown here to give you a little more, I think, lock over the midsole.
Yeah.
But tell me, Meg, you've run in this. You've never raced in this because I know you have a shoe that you prefer for racing.
Yeah.
What is it? Why does this shoe fall short for you there?
Well, you know, when we originally got this last year, I was contemplating wearing this for race day. Over at that time, I think the Next Percent 2 was the only, or Next Percent was the only option, not the Alpha Fly. And it really does have a nice ride. It gives you a really good pop. It's really light. There's good structure in the upper, unlike some of the other racing shoes. So you get that comfortable fit. I just didn't get that extra super pop you do from...
I think that's because it just doesn't have as much bounce off the toe in the cushioning in the front. It has, like, this was the first shoe that I thought came in as a competitor to Nike, and I still do feel like there's only a handful of shoes that can compete with the Vaporfly, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
I do think it's a fantastic race day shoe. If the other ones work for you and you're doing your workouts in the Speed, or even like Robbe using the Speed for like a daily trainer, and then you want that extra pop on race day, I think this shoe does it. I think it does it exceptionally well. I understand why Saucony didn't really change things up that much. These are good shoes.
Yeah, the thing I loved about the whole Endorphin line is that you did have the whole lineup. So you had your daily trainer, you had the Speed for your tempo workouts, and then you have your race day shoe with the Pro. And
It
they
took
all work
guesswork
together.
out of it. Like, you don't need to, you weren't like, which shoes for what? It's like, this is the line, here's everything this for. It was really well spelled out for the runner on what the shoes were designed for. It's almost like we don't always see the brief for what the shoe is for, but Saucony kind of let us in and said, okay, here's what these shoes are for, and lets the consumer have a very clear understanding. One thing we didn't mention about the Speed and this one, they share the same Power Run PB, which is a very lightweight kind of, I mean...
It's bouncy, it's light, nice and responsive. I really like the ride.
It reminds you of kind of like the Boost. If you see it made up, it's made of little pellets, but it's much lighter, it's much durable. And I remember when Saucony first came out with this, they talked about the durability. So we got Robbe back to give his opinion of the Pro. And I'm gonna tell you, no shoe lasts forever, none.
But with advances in modern science and a high level price tag, it's not crazy to think this shoe could get you 250, 300 miles, I don't know, 500?
It could do it.
It could do it.
Robbe, you love these shoes. Tell me about them.
Real quick, may cover most of what I thought about the shoe, but the Endorphin Pro 2, I love it even as a race shoe. Now I might say maybe for shorter distances. Obviously last year there weren't many races going on.
You did the thing around the lake. That's where you're going with this, isn't it?
I did do the 5K time trial in this and got a PR with that, so that was awesome. And it does have a firm, snappy toe off. A lot of people think it's too firm. Like I recommended it, I think, to a couple friends, and they were like, yeah, it doesn't work for me.
That is the thing, I think, the difference between why people will gravitate towards the Speed over this. Speed's just a little bit softer.
For sure. But it does have that when you're picking it up and going pretty fast paces, it gives you a really nice spring and toe off. And
Yeah, I forget you were doing a weird distance that day.
Yeah, it was like 4.5 miles because it's for the A6 relay, Ekiden relay. But the first 3.1, I just.
And you were cruising.
Yeah, it was great. I love this shoe for that for sure.
I also think that, you know, at the time Noah Droddy was a Saucony athlete, and I think that Robbe, it might have also influenced him loving these shoes.
No, maybe, but I remember from when we first got it, I love this shoe. So now the only thing I will say is that when you're wearing these or walking around them, even or going slower paces, it's like being on ice skates. Like it feels like you're on a rail.
Yeah.
And so there have been times I've rolled my ankle a little bit there, just stepping on a crack that was.
Well, Robbe, I gotta say, you made this review your bitch.
I did.
Little baby Jesus humor there.
Yeah. And we tried to dress up a little.
Shake and bake.
We're formal, but we like to party.
Yeah.
I think it says that.
All right. Robbe, this is the Pro from 2020.
Okay.
8.29 ounces.
All right. Literally 8.3. It's the exact same thing.
You know, that's the thing. I think there's one other thing we didn't mention about the speed was the reason why this one lost some points for me against like the Vaporfly and stuff is it's about an ounce heavier. It's 235 grams for our friends who do the metric system. I'm not even gonna weigh that one because it's 235 grams. Let's go on and do
the speed.
2020 speed, 240 grams. 8.47 ounces.
Yeah,
Let's try this guy.
Comparable to the Pro for sure.
I mean, it's negligible. This one's showing up at 8.64 ounces or 245 grams.
Yeah.
How did that work?
It could be
245 grams.
240.
240 grams.
So
245 grams. I mean, that could just be production.
Yeah,
production thing. So this is the Shift, and this one's gonna blow your mind. 326 grams. 11.5 ounces.
And these are for men's size 10.5.
Well, that's the trick I'm going to tell you here. This was 1104 and 313 grams.
So that's actually considered like that's a half ounce.
Yeah, but this was a size 11. Ding, ding, ding. So versus a size 10.5. They sent me an 11 last year because that's the only sizes they had. So we don't have the weight from it last year. But I mean, this is not a lightweight trainer at 314 grams for a size 10.5 or 11.08 ounces. Yeah, if there's more questions you have on it, I know there's a strange review because this is like deja vu review for us. These shoes aren't changed that much. If you liked them before, you're gonna like them again. If you haven't tried them and you wanna try them, you know, feel free to ask us questions about them, but it's pretty much the same lineup.
It really is. From now on, it's Magic Man and El Diablo.
I kind of like that name. Wish I come up with it myself. It's pretty good. The field mouse is fast. The field mouse. The one thing you gotta remember is the field mice are fast, but the owl sees in the dark.
Hoo.
We go together like
cocaine
and waffles. Let me give you a quote from Colonel Sanders. I'm too drunk
to taste this chicken.
All right, Meg. What's your favorite quote from Talladega Nights?
No, that's not. Just cut it.
He's gonna edit it out.
You don't
I can just say it.
That's what I'm saying.
You stop talking. If you don't like Big Red, then you.
All right, say goodbye to your mom.
Bye.
Hey, make sure that you like our videos on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, check out the Drop Podcast, check us out on Instagram, all the places that you like to digest running content, we're there, so do it. Do you hoop a lot?
I actually, a few years ago, used to go to pick up games at the Coast Guard base, kind of.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Kind of like Tom Cruise playing volleyball.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that, by the way.
Look at this stash. You'd be the guy who yells at him all the time.
Yeah.
What was his name? Who was the captain? You had Maverick, you had Goose.
I forget.
Yeah, Mustang or something. I forget what his name was. Yeah, we can leave that out.